Right. Call the meeting to order. This is a public meeting for planning applications, Municipality of Central Elgin, Monday, April 24th at 6:10 p.m. here in the council chambers and via Zoom. We welcome those that are joining us online as well as those that are in the gallery. Our first item is regarding a minor variance, 300 Colburn Street, Port Stanley. This is a public meeting as required by the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed minor variance respecting 300 Colburn Street, Municipality of Central Elgin. Does any member of the committee have a disclosure of interest concerning this proposal? If the application or an agent is in attendance, please come forward to the podium and explain the application. Thank you. Welcome. If you could just state your name, please, at the start.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ted Halwa. I'm a resident of Port Stanley and I'm a planner by trade, and I act on behalf of Monique and John Kilns, who are the de facto applicants in this matter. The application is brought forward to satisfy a condition of severance, which was granted by the Land Division Committee and supported by the municipality. There were three zoning deficiencies identified, and they are the subject of this application before you. The first one is to permit a reduced lot depth, and that is for the building lot being created. It's all we got. We're between Colburn Street and Kettle Creek, and the depth is set at what we have. I would point out that the municipality has supported the creation of lots in this range in the past, and even smaller than what we're asking for. The second item on the list of variants is to permit an increased lot coverage of 35%, and that is for the existing dwelling on the lands, which is the primary residence of the applicants. Again, the municipality has granted coverages in this range in the past, a number of them, and this figure here is more in keeping with what you see other municipalities are setting their coverage standard at today. You won't notice any visible change in granting this variance. The house exists, and the coverage, of course, is a percentage of the lot that can be occupied by buildings. We could get closer to the maximum permitted by making the lot being created smaller and the lot being retained on which the house sits larger. But the house is already, or the building lot is already on the small side. And as I pointed out, the depth is less than what is the standard in the bylaw. So we're reluctant to do that. And finally, the variance to recognize a reduced setback of the existing dwelling from the front lot line or the road allowance for Colburn Street. I would point out that that house, when it was erected, was granted a minor variance to allow it to be erected in that location. And this variance is really confirming that previous variance that was granted.
Thank you.
Those are my submissions.
Thank you, sir. Questions or comments from council? What method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting?
Mr. Chair, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 60 meters of the subject land and applicable agencies on April 13th, 2023. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff, and notice was also posted to the municipal website and displayed in the weekly CE Buzz advertisements.
Thank you. Have you received any written submissions on the proposal?
Mr. Chair, I have not.
Thank you. I'll open it up to questions from the public. If you are attending in person, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. If you are listening on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, please click the raise hand icon. If you've called into the meeting using telephone, please dial 9. Questions will be taken in a sequential order. Do we have anyone on the? Is Ms. Cardoza there? No? Okay. Sorry, Ms. Barron, is there anyone online?
No raised hands.
Thank you. Further questions from council? Everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. Is the committee prepared to make a decision or reserve its decision?
Thanks. I'm here to object to this minor variance, which is in fact not a minor variance, it's a major variance. And the reason I object to it is because last year I bought 302 Francis, which has a beautiful view of the marina and Kettle Creek. And this new lot would actually, with the building on it of some kind, would block my view of the marina and Kettle Creek. Since I bought it on the understanding that the zoning laws were cast sort of in stone, I had no hesitation as far as paying the price I did for this building, for this house of mine. Now, this minor variance, if granted, as I said, it's a major variance. It's a 17% reduction with respect to the lot depth. It's a 40% increase in maximum coverage. And it's a 50% reduction in minimum setback with respect to the zoning bylaws of the day. So I'm asking you to, I'm objecting to you granting this minor variance.
Thank you, sir. Could you state your name for the record, please, just so we have it on file?
Jan van der Veen.
Mr.
also
Van der
known as
Veen.
John van der Veen.
Thank you, Mr. Van der Veen. Mr. McClure, do you have any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With respect to this application itself, the severances that are being requested are essentially recognizing the existing conditions of the situation on the retained lots. So as was indicated, the existing dwelling, it's recognizing what exists today and then the coverage that would be created as part of the, I guess, the severance that's being proposed. As was in the report, staff did not have any concerns with the variances that were being requested through this application.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Questions or comments from council? Seeing none, everyone's been given a fair opportunity to be heard. The committee prepared to make a decision. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Those wanting to be notified of the committee's decision on any application should email Delaney Leach, DeLeitch, DELEITCH@centralelgin.org, indicating which public meeting they wish to be notified on and provide their name and address. Those who do not have access to a computer and wish to be notified should call Delaney Leach at 519-631-4860, extension 286, and provide the same information. This public meeting is adjourned. This is regarding a public meeting is required by the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed minor variance respecting 6847 Centennial Road, municipality of Central Elgin. Does any member of the committee have a disclosure of interest concerning this proposal? Seeing none. If the applicant or agent is in attendance, please come forward to the podium and explain the application. And if you could just state your name, sir, at the start. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. My name is Paul Lang. I live at 6847 Centennial Road. We lived there for over 30 years. We've made many improvements to the property, and hopefully this is my last one I'm going to do because I'm getting too old to be doing this kind of work anymore. So I've worked for 29 years at the OPP detachment over here, and the last 2 years with CBRE taking care of the old psychiatric hospital over here, doing technical work and chasing people away all the time. So keeps me busy over there. So lots of walking over there. Anybody ever wants a free tour, I'll give you one. Ghost there, no charge. But yeah, I'm looking for a minor variance. We want to do a wraparound veranda on our house. Being a corner lot, of course, we're too close to everything. I know that. So this to be my second minor variance I've asked for over the last 30 years. One was to build a shop on the property, but this will be my last one. This will be my last time building anything, hopefully. So I'm just hoping to get the approval to go ahead and do this job.
Thank you, Mr. Lang, and I'm going to disagree with you. I hope it's not your last one. Continue to improve your place, and that benefits us all. If the applicant, excuse me, what method, I'm going to ask the clerk, first of all, council, are there any questions? What method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting?
Mr. Chair, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 60 meters of the subject land and applicable agencies on April 13th, 2023. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff, and notice was also posted to the municipal website and displayed in the weekly CE Buzz advertisement.
Thank you, Ms. Leach. Have you received any written submissions on the proposal?
Mr. Chair, I have not.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from online or from the public, Mr. Perrin?
No, Mr. Mayor. None.
Thank you, sir. I've asked council if they have any questions. Everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. Is the committee prepared to make a decision? All those in favor, please. Opposed? And it is carried. Thank you, Mr. Lang.
Thank you, people.
Those wanting to be notified of the committee's decision on any application should email Delaney Leach, DELEITCH, indicating which public meeting they wish to be notified on and provide their name and address. Those who do not have access to a computer can call Delaney Leach at 631-4860 extension 286 and provide the same information. This public meeting is adjourned. This is a public meeting as required by the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed minor variance respecting 214 William Street in the municipality of Central Elgin. Does any member of the committee have a disclosure of interest concerning this proposal? If the applicant or agent is in attendance, please come forward to the podium and explain the application, please. Are they online, Mr. McClure? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the applicant, the Robinsons are in the meeting now. If they can unmute, speak to their application.
Thanks, Mr. Perrin. Mr. and Mrs. Robinson?
Hello, actually, our planner, Stuart Finlater, is supposed to be doing the talking. He's on the Zoom as well. Are you able to unmute him instead? Thank you.
Mr. Findlater?
Yes, thank you, your worship and members of council. I am a planner representing John and Kim Robinson on their property at 214 William Street in the village of Port Stanley. This is a minor variance application. Essentially, the only variance that's really required is reducing a side yard from 3 meters to 1.4 meters. And it's already an existing structure. There's a 2-unit dwelling. Basically a semi-detached unit that's been there for quite a number of years. My clients purchased this property a few years back, and they're trying to correct really something that's been in existence for quite a while. There's no new buildings or structures being proposed. We're just trying to correct something that's happened in the past. We have filed 3 severance applications with the County Land Division Committee, which we haven't got a meeting date set yet, but we expect that to come shortly. And really, we're adding some land to the lots where this semi-detached dwelling is located to make sure that it does have sufficient rear yard and lot area. And the only deficiency that we really are looking at is like I said, an existing side yard. And again, no new buildings, no new structures are proposed. I've read Mr. Craig's planning report to council, and I think it clearly outlines that what we're requesting is minor in nature and will be conditional upon the consents being granted. So I would ask that the committee grant the variance request as presented. And if there's any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Findlater. What method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting, please?
Mr. Chair, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 60 meters of the subject land and applicable agencies on April 13th, 2023. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff, and notice was also posted to the municipal website and displayed in the weekly CE Buzz advertisements.
Thank you, Ms. Leach. Have you received any written submissions on the proposal?
Mr. Chair, I have not.
Thank you. Do we have anyone on from the public? Mr. Perrin? Before I open the questions from the public, I ask that all participants be respectful. If you are attending in person, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. If you are listening on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, please click the raise hand icon. And if you've called into the meeting using a telephone, please dial 9. The questions will be taken in sequential order. Mr. Perrin?
Mr. Chair, there's an individual by the name of Merv that's been admitted into the meeting.
Thank you. Merv, could you state your name and address for the record, sir?
Merv Reed, 218 Briar Hill Street, Port Stanley.
Go ahead, sir.
Just a question of clarification. I know that the intent eventually is to sever off a lot separate from these 2 units. And can we assume that the minor variance would only apply to the would not apply, let's go the other way. Could we assume that the minor variance would not automatically apply to the newly severed lot, which would have the same basically side lot line?
Thank you, Mr. Reed. I'm going to ask Mr. McClure to comment on that, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just as a point of clarification, the severance applications that are before the Elgin County Land Division Committee are actually lot additions. The 3 lots currently exist. Today, we've received a legal opinion that historically the lots exist. So what the severances are doing is essentially recognizing existing conditions today, but as part of the lot addition, they're adding lands to the south of what the 2 lots that are, I guess, currently front on to the northern street that's escaping me at the moment. But the lands to the south that I guess the member of the public is speaking to, it already exists and no minor variances are being requested through this application to deal with that property. So the zoning that exists on the property would remain the same.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Mr. Reed, does that satisfy your question?
Yes, thank you very much for that clarification.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions from online? Thank you. Does any member of council have any questions? Seeing none, everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. Is the committee prepared to make a decision? Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Those wanting to be notified of the committee's decision on any application should email Delaney Leach, DELEITCH @centralelgin.org, indicating which public meeting they wish to be notified on. Those who don't have access to a computer can call Delaney Leach at 519-631-4860, extension 286. This public meeting is adjourned. This is a public meeting as required by the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed minor variance respecting 8987 Powers Road, municipality of Central Elgin. Does any member of the committee have a disclosure of interest concerning this proposal? If the applicant or agent is in attendance, please come forward to the podium and explain the application, please.
Can you guys see me?
Mr.
No,
Fair,
but-
I can see your name on the screen. I can't see your face, but if you just want to state your name and we'll go forward.
Okay. I'm Frank Fair. I'm over here on 8987 Powers Road. I'm just asking for a minor variance on a second dwelling that we put up last year. And what I'm looking to do is just have it as a either for a family, an additional family member or something. And the services will be attached to the existing as per requested. The well and the sewer both, or septic would be. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this. The building is fully constructed and just waiting on this to further the connections on that, on the sewer.
Thank you, Mr. Fair. Ms. Leach, what method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting, please?
Mr. Chair, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 60 meters of the subject land and applicable agencies on April 13th, 2023. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff, and notice was also posted to the municipal website and displayed in the weekly CE Buzz advertisements.
Thank you. Ms. Leach, have you received any written submissions on the proposal?
Mr. Chair, I have not.
Thank you. Do we have anyone online that wishes to speak to this?
Mr. Mayor, seeing none.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. Any member of council have any questions? Seeing none, everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. Is the committee prepared to make a decision? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Those wanting to be notified of the committee's decision on any application should email Delaney Leach indicating which public meeting they wish to be notified on and provide their name and address. Those who do not have access to a computer and wish to be notified should call Delaney Leach at 519-631-4860, extension 286, and provide the same information. This meeting is adjourned. This is a public meeting as required by the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment respecting 7716 Yarmouth Center Road, municipality of Central Elgin. Does any member of council have a disclosure of interest concerning this proposal? What method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting, please?
Mr. Mayor, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 120 meters of the subject land and applicable agencies on April 1st, 2023. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff, posted to the municipal website, and displayed in the weekly CE Buzz advertisements.
Thank you. Mr. McClure, would you like to present the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, please?
Thank you, Mayor Sloan. As has been discussed, this is a public meeting to present a draft zoning bylaw amendment for 7716 Yarmouth Center Road. On the screen is the location of the subject lands. They are east of Yarmouth Center Road, north of John Wise Line. The area itself is predominantly agricultural in nature, and there is a woodlot at the rear of the property. As has been discussed, the zoning bylaw amendment is a request as our condition of a rezoning from severance applications that are currently, or I guess, have been approved by the Elgin County Land Division. What's being requested here is a 0.9 hectare, 2.224 acre lot to be created as through this process. And as with any surplus farm severance application, there's a requirement for a prohibition for a dwelling to be constructed on the retained lands. And again, this is an area of the approximate area as part of the proposed severance application that's being requested to be removed as part of that application purposes for the surplus farm severance. And again, on the screen was information that was provided as part of that application. General location of where the proposed septic bed and a geothermal system is supposed to be constructed on the property in the future. And as you may be aware, there were concerns raised by staff as part of the application process regarding the size of the proposed lot. That being said, the bylaw that's being presented today is what the applicant has requested through that process. So as we can see on the screen, part one of the amendment introduces a Schedule A to the bylaw being map part 71A. And then part two of the amendment designates the lands in hatch lines on Schedule A as OS 1-231. So as we see on the screen, that OS 1-231 is the zoning that will apply to the surplus farm severance lands. And then what you'll see later on as that OS 1-232 will be the agricultural component that will impose the no dwelling to be constructed on those lands as a condition of the severance and municipal and county policies. So part three of the amendment introduces a new subsection to the open space 1 zone being 8.2.2.231. Defines the area shown on zoning map part 71A as OS 1-231. Provides that the only permitted uses are rural residential use, home occupation, and accessory uses. Provides that the permitted buildings and structures are single attached dwellings and accessory buildings and structures, and then provides exceptions to the general provisions of the OS 1 zone that are provided in those following subsections. Part four of the amendment, again, goes back to designating the lands on that Schedule A shown in heavy solid lines as that OS 1-232, again, being the farm parcel, and introduces a new subsection being 8.2.2.232. Defines that area shown on zoning map part 71A as OS 1-232, provides that the only permitted uses on those lands are farm uses and accessory uses. And then provides that the only permitted buildings and structures are farm building instructions, structures, but no farm dwelling shall be permitted. And then accessory buildings and structures are permitted. Again, only related to the farm uses. And then the exceptions are again to the general provisions of the OS1 zone to allow for the severance to go forward. Part 6 of the amendment is Schedule B, being a new schedule, being zoning map 71, that has all of the amendments that have occurred to date, including through this amendment, applied to it, which can be seen on the screen, again, showing the lands zoned OS1 -231 and OS1 -232 on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you. What method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting, please? Did I get through that already? Sorry. Have you received any written submissions on the proposal? Sorry, Ms. Leach.
Mr. Mayor, I have not.
Before opening the meeting to questions from the public, I ask that all participants be respectful. If you're attending in person, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record before asking your question. If you're listening on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, please click the raise hand. If you're on the phone, press 9, dial *9. Please provide your name and address as well. Mr. Perrin, is there anyone online?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Is there anyone here in the gallery that wishes to speak? Does any member of the council have any questions? Everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. If there are no further questions, please be advised that any person wishing further information on the actions of council regarding the passing of a bylaw on the proposed amendment should email Delaney Leach, DLEITCH@centralelgin.org, indicating which public meeting they wish to be notified on. The public meeting is now concluded. Any amendment to the bylaw will be considered at a future meeting of council. Thank you.